Hey there, and welcome to Business Over Cocktails. I'm Lauren Najar, your host and hype woman, bringing you real talk about entrepreneurship. This is the podcast where we dive into the bold whys, the messy middles, and the game-changing aha moments that lead to success. You'll hear unfiltered stories from entrepreneurs, plus bite-sized solo episodes inside the Business Chaser series, where we cut through the noise and get straight to what actually drives sales, visibility, and growth. So whether you're here to get fired up or finally feel seen in your business journey, pull up a seat, pour your favorite drink, and let's have a real conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Business Over Cocktails. I'm so excited for our guest today. I have Michelle Thames here. She is a marketing strategist and community builder, and I am very lucky because she lives in Chicago, which is just 45 minutes away from me in Northwest Indiana. And we have had the pleasure to meet in person. And I actually just went to her event this past weekend at the time of this recording. And it was so good. Connected with so many good people. And I'm pretty sure our episode's going to center around all of those things, community building, things like that. So thank you so much, Michelle. I'm so glad that you're here.
Yes, thank you for having me. Yes, thank you for coming to the event. It was so good, and I'm glad to connect here and be on the podcast.
So I know a little bit about your story, and just a shout out also to the new book that you have, where it does share a little bit more about your story and your introduction. You shared about this at your event too, but I would love to just kind of rewind back to 2016 when you were laid off from your healthcare job. And I knew the story of like you were laid off from your job, but what were you doing in healthcare?
Yeah, so I was working in compliance. So my background is in health administration. And so I was working for Cook County Hospital, so the government hospital, in compliance. And one day I just came to work and my manager at the time was like, I went to like do something in the office. So I was like an office manager. So like taking care of like all the bills. So like the administrative assistant, making sure like the compliance officers so a compliance officer of a hospital is essentially incidents and things that happen within the hospital or the things that the hospital has to be compliant for. Like they have to like record all of this and put it in the systems and things. So I was helping with that, and also like continuing education. Like everybody at the hospital has to have continuing education. So it's like this huge system. So I had to manage that and all the things. And so I was doing that, and, it was really great. I was making a really great money at that time and taking the train and the L train for those listening in Chicago. Yes, taking the Metro train and the L train all the way to work every single day, waking up at 4 a.m., really, on it. And one day I got fired. And literally it was the weirdest day because my manager was acting really weird. And she brought the HR lady and was like, yeah, we're just going to fire you. And do you need help, getting your stuff together? And, I had packed my desk the day before, so like in alignment. And it's kind of crazy that I had started packing up my desk the week before. Like, I kind of think that this isn't going to last. And so after that, was able to fall back on my blog. And so that really was a turning point and a pivot for me to be able to say, okay, I got fired. I got some time to figure it out. I definitely fought to get unemployment. I actually get the max unemployment. So every week, I think I was getting like $900, which was insane during that time. So it was like, okay, this is a sign, like chill, figure it out, leverage what you have. And then literally after that 6 months was up, it was like something had to shift. And I actually was able to then go and work at MyAlle Organics, the hair and beauty brand, as their social media and digital marketing manager, learning everything in social media from Instagram, Facebook. TikTok wasn't even out. Reels weren't out. YouTube, blogging, email marketing with systems like Klaviyo, event marketing, events. I was able to learn all about trade shows, what it takes for trade shows, what it takes to put on events. We put on private dinners. We did launches. I was a part of multi-million-dollar launches, multi-million-dollar Black Friday campaigns. So that was really a turning point for me to learn much more about marketing and to be able to take that and say, okay, well, if I'm doing this and helping this company, oh, wow, I probably could help so many more people. While I love this and this is their dream, I think that I need to focus on me and start to build something of my own. And so I left there, and that's when me and my husband started our digital marketing agency. And from there, I got to work with so many different hair and beauty and travel businesses to really grow their social media and visibility. And so we've kind of shifted more on our marketing side, agency side, to more community focused and driven brands who also do events. And so we lean more into helping them also increase the visibility for their events and their overall marketing and social media. Very much boutique. And me, as my personal brand, leaning more into just community building and events and retreats and really creating a network for women entrepreneurs. I think what I really wish existed, like in 2020, when I was just like trying to figure it out and like joining all these different programs and like not really finding what I wanted. And I guess this is like an epiphany moment right here in this podcast, like not really finding what I wanted. So I built it, right? A network for women where we can come, we can collaborate, we can exchange information, we can have cute coffee dates and, really just build and grow together. And it's like a supportive sisterhood. It's not like a coaching program. It's not like, yes, we're going to coach and mastermind all the things, but it's really a network. And so, yeah, that is just a little bit of my story. And I'm so excited to be here.
I love just so many different transitions, and I love the journey that you just shared. It's interesting. So I know that you had a blog. So when did you start your blog before you were fired?
Yes. So I started the blog back in 2009 on Blogger, which is, I don't think, even around anymore. Then I switched
Yeah.
to WordPress. So yes, it's still around, Happily Ever Natural. If you want to look it up, I started to work with different brands and get different sponsor opportunities. That's when I was like, oh, this could really be a thing. So yep, started back in 2009.
So yeah, so you, as far as like social media and blogging and that kind of thing, that's how you kind of learn marketing then, I would assume, because the healthcare compliance was not anything with marketing.
Yeah. So that's where I learned hands-on. So yeah, I am self-taught. I learned everything by, Google, YouTube, like just hands-on. And when I got the job at MyAlle, that really helped to accelerate everything because then I had much more vast opportunities for hands-on learning. Like I literally was thrown in the ring and had to like figure out email marketing campaigns, how to make that all work, how to get people to buy, convert. It was like everything like thrown in the ring. Like just as a social, I really initially started as like just doing the social media, but that like evolved into so much more. And especially with a startup, you kind of have your hands in everything. So I did learn a little marketing in my healthcare background. I remember taking a marketing class that I actually really loved and did really good at. And I didn't really, see it then, but it was like my favorite class. But yeah, healthcare and marketing, nothing alike. Okay. Nothing alike.
I know it's such a vast difference. So I'm similar. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I was in banking, so definitely like a very strict, like again, compliance regulations, things like that, kind of boring. But I actually started my blog as well, and that's how of course, other than personal use of social media, I created a blog that was more so telling people stories, and because I have my story too of cancer survivorship and things like that, but like I was doing this blog. I'm like, well, I want to monetize it, but I was building mine in it was like 2017, 2018, where I feel like blogging still was a very big thing, but I think that there were huge blogs and a lot of ad spend that you would have to do. And I was just like, man, like if I want to leave my 9 to 5, like I have to monetize somehow. So then I went into social media management for a little bit. And then I'm like, I want to be more of a business coach. I think that speaks more to me. So again, I'm also self-taught. I have a finance degree, but like the marketing classes I took in college were like marketing 101, right? You don't need a lot of marketing background for that. So I resonate with a lot of that because I also find it really cool though that you were able to get a job at MyAlle, the hair company, but you didn't have formal education with marketing and they hired you. Was it because of your blog then? Like that kind of gave you the credibility?
Yeah, and relationships. So back then, I used to go to a lot of events. And so there were like these hair shows and these meetups for other women who were also natural or, growing out their relaxers and, using all the products. And there were all these different product brands. It was like this huge thing. And so there was this girls' event in Dallas. And I remember going, I was pregnant and didn't even know it. This was in 2013. I went to Dallas to this girl's event. And so she had like an expo. And so there were like all these different hair brands and like people in the industry. And so I was newly in the industry and had my blog and my YouTube channel. And so I went to like connect with other bloggers who I had met online and we had did like meetups and they had a skating party and all the things. And so it was really cool. But I met Monique, who was the owner of MyAlle. I met her at another event for actually a benefit from one of my friends who ended up passing away from brain cancer. And she had a benefit. And at this benefit, I met Monique, and we never realized how we would work together. She wanted to work with me, but we never really figured it out. And then so time passed, we had dinners and just, still kept in touch. But one day, I was at this other expo and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Michelle, I'm so glad to see you because I'm looking for a social media manager, someone to help manage the social media. I've been doing it myself and I see how you've been building your personal brand and what you've been doing. And I want you to come to the office so we could talk about it." So I went essentially to the office, which is in Northwest Indiana. And so I used to work in Crown Point and Maryville. And so we essentially had an office, and I think, was it on Mississippi? It was on Mississippi, but this was in Crown. We started in Crown Point and then we moved to Maryville. And so I went to that office, and then that's when like the company grew so much. So I ended up getting the job, ended up working there, and then grew so much we had to get a different warehouse. We built like a content room and all the things. And so I left really in the height of them really on the growth journey, and they ended up being acquired by Procter and Gamble. And so it was like a multi-million-dollar acquisition. And just to be a part of that in the beginning, I think is super cool, because if you go to Target or Walmart, wherever you see the brand, you might see me on some packaging because I'm still in the packaging. I was heavy in marketing, heavy in like campaigns. So I was in like video campaigns. We did video shoots like month. Oh my God, it was so many things. Like, and I was like, this is a lot. Like taking pictures, finding models, booking shoots. So that's how I found out about Peerspace and all these things. So I've really had to jump in and do the things and like learn on the fly. I think all of us did there. I worked with a lot of different marketing professionals who had worked at other hair companies too, and they gave me a lot of knowledge and just information about marketing. And so I had some really great friends who I'm still friends with now who just really taught me as well. And just by doing, I was also an influencer myself. So being able to manage influencers on the other side was kind of easier for me because I knew from the influence side, but also like just the business side too of how to like manage it all. So yep, all self-taught.
So I am very familiar with it because I drive past, I think, their warehouse on Mississippi all of the time. And I also see their like trucks, their delivery trucks going out all the time. And I do notice it in Target or Walgreens or wherever. I notice it all the time. It's just like a brand that I recognize. So now I'm going to like go through it. I'm going to take a second look and be like, do I see Michelle on these bottles? Or do I see Michelle on these things? That's so interesting. But that's such a cool story too, like how she sought you out specifically because of what you built on your own, right? I think it's more common nowadays to yes, we're self-taught and we don't necessarily need to have all of these credentials or degrees that, because again, like with us, we have our clients, they're not asking us like, "Oh, what'd you go to school for?" Right? But I think that if you were to go to a company and they're, if I'm going to go be someone's social media manager, I don't think nowadays it's as hard to prove versus like when you were doing that, almost 10 years ago, that was not the landscape. The landscape was still very much, you still need to have these credentials, and even social media wasn't what it was today, where like now everyone can influence and everyone can have a brand and everyone can do these things and everyone can have experience, and most people are self-taught. But yeah, that just goes to the testament of just like how long you've been doing this, but how good it has been for you. And you're like one of the OGs, like just like truly like people can call themselves visibility strategists, but you've seen so much of an evolution with social media over the last decade for sure.
Yeah, it's just changed so much, so many different platforms, like Threads is new. I mean, we used to be on forums back in the day, like on websites, forums, talking underneath. Like it's crazy. Social media has just evolved so much and it's so much opportunity. I think if you use it right, I think me and my husband talk about this all the time. Like people just post random stuff on social media. Like, yeah, that's what initially started, like how it started, right? You wanted to be connected with your friends and family. But I think if you're someone who is creating a personal brand or a business, that you should just think a little bit more strategic and not just share random stuff, because I think that takes away. Like, I feel like you can show your personality and share fun stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. I just think about it as really strategy business focused, because I wanna use it as that tool, and of course, I do wanna show myself and show what I like. I mean, I go to the gym, and I make sure I'm going to this with my family, but then I also want to just live also as well and do things that I, like, don't have to always tell y'all that I'm doing. Like, I wanna live my life, and so I've been able to do both and, like, even more recently figure out how to balance even more. Like, yesterday, like, I went to a Bulls game, but I was like, "I'm not even about to post this. I'm about to just be, and just have a good time, like, the people don't need to know." Like, I didn't even touch my phone, like, I took my phone off do not disturb, I don't know why, but now I'm really putting it back in that on do not disturb because it used to be it used to, like, go into that, and I took it off for a while. I'm putting it back because it's like, nope, I check my phone I'll check it 2 times a day, check my email 2 times a day, and if you hear from me, if not, yeah, so
That's
that's
a
what I've
good
been.
boundary. That's a good idea. You know what? I always put, if I'm like out of town or if I go for a run, I put my phone on do not disturb, but I like, because I go to a lot of sports games too. We'll go to Bulls games, we go to baseball games all summer long. I really should do that because I love going to those things. I'm definitely a sports person, sports fan, Chicago sports fan. But I love, you just gave me an idea. I'm going to do it. If we go to a Bulls game this year or the next baseball game I go to, I'm going to put on do not disturb just to be fully present in that. But I wanted to ask you, so like when you started your business and I know that you kind of then went with your husband to start your digital marketing agency, and then when you guys started or maybe when you started your own personal brand, when did you have that feeling of like, wow, like this is something, like this can be sustainable?
I think when I got, like, my first really big client and they, like, trusted us to, like, help them, I was like, "Oh, okay, this can really, like it can really be done." Like, I think people don't wanna put their expertise out there and don't wanna talk about what they do, but in my case, it helped me to talk about how I've helped brands and what I've done because it makes people trust, right? If I showed what I was able to do for a company, so that's why I'm really grateful that I did talk about when I worked at MyAlle Organics. I was a blogger, but I also talked about how I did work there. So on my social media, like I shared that. I shared that I worked there and I shared the whole process because then if I didn't, it would have been like, that's a whole piece that's missing. And people would have been like, oh, what did you do? So that you can go, I mean, it's far back, but it's there, right? It's out on social media and people know that that's what I did. So I think bringing people along the journey, it's been able to help with that trust factor. And I think that should definitely be something that we think about when we're building our brands. Like, what are we sharing in the sense of the work that we do? So it doesn't make it so hard for someone to trust you because it's like, it's right there. Like, I've done this. Like, these are the brands I work with. You see, like, what their brands are looking like and their visibility. And that's how I've been able to help. So I think in that sense, it's been very helpful.
What do you think were the early setbacks to those early years?
I think in 2020, when everybody was at home and everybody needed marketing, we blew up and I hired like a lot of different people. And I think that I could have done just like a better job of just vetting people. I think we were all at home and like we were working hard and it was just a time. Yeah, I just think I could have vetted people more. It was kind of stressful. I had like maybe at one point like 5 social media managers. We were managing like 5 to 7 accounts, and so, like, I don't want like, that's why I decided to just go back to being more boutique. It's like, I would rather work longer and, like, farther with clients and deeper in their marketing than just, like, one-off projects. Like, I would rather be if you need somebody to be a fractional marketing, you need somebody on your team, you need a strategist, that versus, like, "Okay, we're just gonna hire you, help us grow our social media by tomorrow," because, like, I've had clients fire us because, "Oh, we don't have anything posted and it's been a week." I have to learn your brand first, like, and this ChatGPT wasn't even out then, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I gotta learn your brand first and think about it, think about how we're gonna bring the captions together. And I had people fire us because we didn't do it fast enough. And so I think those were some of the early setbacks, just trusting people. And I say this in a loose term, but like just trusting people too easily and just thinking that they were very business minded and relationship driven like myself. And like everybody's not like that. Like I lead, and I know people say, oh, business is business, but I actually don't feel that way. Like if you don't care about me as a person, I don't want to actually do business with you. Like I don't, because it's like, that's not the type of business I run. And if you could just, you know, stab me in the back and just do things like that, just because business is business. I don't even wanna be involved with you. So I've had even things just more recently this year happen like that. And so it's always a learning experience. So I'm always learning from the mistakes and saying, okay, well, you saw the red flags. Now this next time, don't be so, don't be so giving. Like we're gonna have to, really vet people. And so it's just always a learning experience. It's like a up and down. Like you'll be like, oh, like we have, the money is like coming in. Oh my God, just all the clients. And then one day it'll be like, we need to do something. And then the next time it'll be like, oh, things are great. And then it'll be like, we need to do something. So I want people to know, like, that's probably almost every business owner. Like, I'm sure in my event, like you heard my friend say, like, I know people who have lost everything and still moving. So it's like, it's not easy, but you just got to keep going. And every day is a learning experience. Like every single day, every, setback is just for your setup.
Yeah, I think that's the myth to demystify, right? Like, I think that I know in my early days, I thought that once I got to a certain level, whether that is like, say, I made my first $10,000 month, and I thought that once I hit that, like things would be magically cured. Or if I started making that money consistently, or if I hit my first six figures, like you think that when you're growing and when you're new and in the early years, you think that those setbacks don't exist anymore. And so I kind of like what you said because like 2020 it was like kind of you were in it and you still like I know that for me you can learn from those lessons and you get better as you go, but it's never going to be perfect. And like maybe it doesn't happen as much anymore. It's not as bad as it was, but I know that I still have clients that we just aren't aligned after a certain point or we're just not aligned to work together. And we both had agreed at one point, but then we both mutually agreed that it doesn't work anymore. And so I think like that I like what you said about that. Just like it is like one day you could be on top of the world. It can even be in the same day. You wake up and you're like, oh, my life is awful. This business sucks. But then by the end of the day, you're like, let's effing go. Like, let's go. Like, I'm having the best day. Like, it could literally be in the same day, like, even in the same, like, 5 hour span. So I like that you said that. So one thing I want to pivot to because you mentioned who you specifically work with now in boutique and events and like even some impact driven and community building brands. The one word that you use a lot in your marketing too is magnetic. So what does magnetic mean to you?
It definitely means that, like, you attract the right fit people, just like I was saying, like, the heart center people. Like, for my event, I know that I'm doing the right thing because, like, I attracted all of those people. I feel like when you are marketing and, like, you're the person or you're a personal brand marketing some type of event, the people are most likely coming because of you, and so you have to attract those people, and I feel if you put out the good energy and the good prana out in the world that you will attract those right people. So that's what magnetic actually feels like to me. Like I know that I will attract the right people. And people always say, Michelle, you just bring together, all the good people. And so that's like a continuing sign. Like I've heard that over and over and over. So it's like, okay, well, you must have a gift to be able to do this. And so I really like to vibe out people first too. I actually met everybody at the event before they came to the event. And then before every event, I'd say a prayer. If the people who are not see fit to be here will not be here, no matter what, like they just weren't meant to be there for various reasons. And you will always bring the right people to the rooms, to this room, to the next room. And even if they missed this room, they will come to the next, you know what I'm saying? So just in that time, it wasn't the right time for that person to be there. But all in all, the right people will always be there. And so that's just my prayer every time. And I just really like to, feel people's vibes. I'm an empath. And so I can almost always tell, like, I don't know, sometimes you just know when it's like, it's just something about that person I just don't like. It's just like, I can't really tell you, but then I'll just like stray away. So I kind of know how to build relationships and like also see how other people will mesh well together. I would never want to have people that I don't feel would all really mesh well together. And so I was really grateful that everybody at the event, I did feel like they would mesh well. Even if I just looked at their Instagram or talked to them in the DMs, I like talk to every single person.
Yeah, I resonate with everything that you're saying truly. Like I agree with everything wholeheartedly. I think that and just a side note to everyone, like, before I hit record, I literally told you that because I just was at your event this past weekend. I'm like, "Oh my god, every person I talked to and every conversation I had was so good," and just, like, everyone was so thoughtful. And I agree, I'm definitely an empath too, where it's almost like people judge you for judging a book by its cover kind of situation, right? It's like you have one conversation with one person. Doesn't matter what they look like, but it's like I don't feel the vibe. Like, I don't feel like I don't feel safe. I can't like find common ground. I feel like I can get along with a lot of people and find something to talk about. But if it's just like, I can feel the resistant energy or just like, ooh, I don't like this person. Like, I'm definitely the same way. But I think to the testament of what you're saying is like, what's frustrating to me is because I always want to systemize something like that or strategize. And this year, for sure, since I've been hosting like my in-person events, like it has been probably the most frustrating thing, but also the best thing to realize that it is a gift and it's okay to say it's a gift and not have to, okay, well, how did I do that? Like, how did I make that strategy? Like, things can just be yours, right? Like, Michelle Thames does this really well, and that is okay that maybe you have a different gift that you do really well that Michelle can't, right? And so that is something that I've really had to like coach myself on a little bit because I'm like, okay, yeah, like let me try and teach people how to do this, but like, no, it's okay that I do this and this is my superpower. And people can ask you all day long, like, how do you do it? And you can kind of say, but like, it's also okay to just own it and be like, no, I'm good at this. So that's what came up for me because like I've literally been having the hardest time wrapping my brain around that. I'm like, why do my events sell like this? It's the easiest thing I've ever done, even though it's the most energy output versus having this business coaching business and my agency and selling all of those things. And I've had a lot of hard seasons with that. So why it's like, I actually recorded a podcast episode before ours and I used the word magic. And it's such a weird word to say because I just like, it's hard for me to wrap around all the whimsical and alignment and woo woo sometimes, but like, it's okay that we own our gifts. And I think that's what I'm hearing from you is like, I like that you take ownership of like, no, I do this really well and this is what I do.
Yeah, and I think you're right, we have to own it, and I think we're in the same place. It's like, "Oh, how did you do that?" It's just like, I don't even know. It's part strategy, part just knowing and, like, having it and having that special thing, and you're right, like, I could teach you how to do it, but it's like your way, though, because 'cause you're not gonna be able to do it like Michelle's way or Lauren's way because it's that special zhuzh that we have and those people like that's why I say like everybody could build a community because your people are always going to be your people and come to your community no matter if they're a part of other communities like but you're always going to have your people. It is always going to be easy for us to sell out events. Like I've sold out of all my events and retreats since I've started. Why? Because you know how to build those relationships and you know how to curate a room. Like it's one thing to host an event, but it's another thing to curate an experience for people that transform them, even if it's just one thought that they learn and they're like, oh my God, that transformed something that I, can take forever and ever. So it's just being able to curate that. And I think you have to just know people and be a people person to do it. And everybody's not a people person. And that is okay, right? But I think those people who are, you can just do it effortlessly because it's just a gift and you know how to curate experience for people that make them feel good too. Like you have to actually care about people in order to have an event like the events like we have. You have to care because it's not just thinking about, I got to get 75 people booked up in here and that's it, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like we want to get people in the room. But like when I was selling, when people told me no, I was actually like, great that they said no, because like even the way you said no told me you didn't need to be there. Like the way that you like didn't respond back to me told you you didn't need to be there. Because I talked to like almost 5, 6, 700 people to even just get 40 people to come to the event. So I want people to know that too. It's not just like I'm talking to 7 people. No, talking to a lot of people in order to get people in the room. So
Hmm.
part strategy, part you just gotta have it.
You bring up a really good point when it does come to like, this could be either selling like a product service or then hosting an event. And this is something that does not happen. And that is probably the reason why a lot of people don't sell out events is because they're not inviting like you were or talking to people like you were, right? Some people run ads. Some people will just simply like cold DM. Like I get a lot of cold DMs for events like across the country all the time. And like there's no relationship building aspect to it. So that's different than what you do, right? That's because you're actually going out there and engaging with them and building relationships with all of these people. And I think, like, again, to demystify something is that was something I struggled with in the early days of my business. I thought that I was supposed to build a sales page, I was supposed to post on Instagram, and people would just gravitate towards me and click on my links. And then I quickly realized that, like, oh no, I can get way further if I actually just like talk to people. And I don't know if, like, even before I started my business, I don't know if I was ever like a super connector building like relationships. Like, I feel like I was very good at like intuition and like knowing someone, and maybe the empath thing I didn't realize at that time, but that was the hardest thing I had to like learn was like even people making 6, 7 figures a year are still inviting people. Like they're still inviting people to their events. I went to an event in New York in September, and the person running the event invited me, like personally invited me to come, told me I should come. Actually, she told me twice. And is making multi-million dollars, has a huge network of people. And now I know full well of that, right? But like that was something I had to demystify myself is like you see people sell out events and sell out launches and sell and make a bunch of sales, guaranteeing you that they have invited some of those people to their masterminds, to their programs, to their courses, even. Like you got to hustle sometimes to make those invitations. And I think I still have clients that will struggle with that. It's like, my DMs are empty. It's like, that is something that needs to be demystified. Your DMs aren't going to be blowing up because you have one post or like 5 posts, right? Like, you have to build those relationships.
You have to get out and network, like meet new people. And with cold DMing, I think you can do it a different way on like threads. Like, so what I like to do is like open up the conversation. And if you said that you want to learn more about the event, then I feel like that's not now a cold DM. And now I can now send it to you in your inbox. But if you don't like reply, I like move on to the next person. Like I did do follow-ups. I did a lot of follow-ups. There were a few people from the event that I did get to come from threads. Like one lady, she came to my Coffee and Connections free event and then loved that so much from that. And then she came to and bought a ticket to the event. So like, I really want people to know, like, it takes building relationships and talking to people. I don't think any of these people just randomly bought a ticket to my event. And I don't even want just random people to buy a ticket. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, I don't think that's what we're building. It's much more intentional. And so how you use social media and increase your visibility is just a little bit different when you're doing it from a place of, building relationships and getting the right people there. Like, of course, I could have a $100,000 launch and do a big event, but I'm just not that person. I'd just rather do small, intimate events where I can absolutely connect with every person, know their names, know about their businesses. I know every person who came to my event. I know what their business is. I've spent time looking on their social media. I can tell you everything you need to know is important to me. And so I want to be able to keep that just in a sacred, safe, small, intimate space. Maybe one day I might think about having an event with hundreds of people, but I don't think that that's just my vibe, and that's okay because there's big events, there's small conferences, and we're all doing what works for us and what we feel comfortable doing and what we want to build that we're not seeing created. And I didn't see many small, intimate events, and so that's what I'm creating.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with all of those things. With events though, what do you feel like live events, in-person events or in-person gatherings? What do you feel like that brings more so than social media? Like social media can't bring it.
Social media can't bring it? Because social media can bring trust, but I mean, trust really can happen in the room with somebody. Like, even when I go speak at events, and I know people who say, "Oh, I don't speak at events for free." Okay, but you're gonna leave with clients, I bet you. I've gone to some of my friends that were at my event. I spoke at their events, gotten clients, and those clients came to the event. And so I also like to invite the people who like, I invited my friends, like, you helped me. I was at your event, and now, like, I got a client from your event. Like, and I like people to see that and see those connections in that way too. So like I'm intentional about things like that. So I know I can speak at events for free and get clients if you're strategic and if you do it the right way and if you build relationships. So you got to get out there. And I think that events just help bring it faster than if they never met you online. They probably wouldn't buy from you as fast as if they met you in person. They trust you, they know, they've talked to you, and now they trust you more to come to your retreats, come to your events, buy your book or whatever. Like, yeah, like everyone left there with the book. I was so just excited and it was just so really great, for the support and all the things. And so like, yeah, I think just those relationships are important and just being there is nothing like it. Like we could do live online events, which I love too. Like I love the, pre-recorded, but I'm actually only going to I'm going to be a part of pre-recorded events, but as part of my online events, they're always going to be live because I just have the gift and it works better for me to do it in person because I can convert definitely in
Mhm.
person.
I think, and to your point too, for the first 6 years truly in my business, I was only ever online. Like, I did not go to in-person. I went here and there to, in-person meetups or, one-offs and meeting someone for coffee and stuff, but I never, went to networking events. I just had a bad taste in my mouth. Even when I lived in the city, in Chicago, I did not I guess I lived most of the time when I was in Chicago, it was COVID, so, people weren't gathering. But I didn't really go to those networking events. Granted, I felt like I was nervous and I was new and didn't really know what I would say, and I had bad taste in my mouth from, networking when I worked at the bank. It was just so, a bunch of old people. But I will say, in the last year of me then going to workshops, going to events, speaking for free, that has really catapulted my business this year is because I am definitely a proponent, which I know you are too. We can build relationships and build community online. That is something that, again, people don't know how to do very well. But when you are in person, it just 10x's it. It goes so fast because I might have connected with, I remember it was earlier this year, I connected with someone online and maybe she followed me, I followed her back. She came to one of my first workshops I did for the social savvy society that we run here in Northwest Indiana. She came to that event, heard me speak, heard me teach, immediately paid in full for my retreat a year later, right? Paid now is coming a year later and is now one of my one-on-one coaching clients. Saw me in person, then was like, "Oh my God, I need to see all of the things." Even though she already followed me, even though she kind of knew who I was, but just the fact that I went up to her and I said hi and I talked to her a little bit before the workshop, and then she heard me teach and coach or whatever it is, immediately became a client and all the things, and I didn't even really know her. So I think that we both agree that yes, you can do all of these things online, but I think in person always moves faster.
Absolutely.
You mentioned your book though. So tell us about your book and then tell us how we can connect with you. Oh my God, yes. I was hoping you were going to bring it up.
Yes, my book is From Fire to Feature, and it's a real life guide to personal branding with purpose. So it gives a little bit of my story, but just really practical advice on how to build and grow your personal brand or your business brand online and really practical to the point tips. Like if you listen to my podcast, Social Media Decoded, very similar. And yeah, I'm really excited to be an author. It's been a long time coming. I still am looking at this this is something that you put together, girl. I don't know. It's still so hard for me to believe. Oh, it's just so weird. But it's so cool how you could just do these things. And I was actually fired from my job. And I don't think if I wouldn't have been fired, I wouldn't even be sitting here because I was that person's go to school, get a job. You're going to have to and nothing wrong with that, but it's just I think God wanted to show me something different. He wanted to say, okay, girl, there is another life. And I think this might be more fit for you because then when I did start to work in corporate, I was just something don't feel right. And I just hate going to work every day. I just hate hearing these people complain about their life every day. I just didn't even jive with some of the culture. And so it was just you're probably not fit for this. And so I told everybody, and you could talk to people who I've known, when I worked in healthcare, they'd be like, Michelle, they used to say this, I'm not going to be here long. This is just I'm, here. But when you see me in the future, no, that you'll see. But I'm only here like for this time being, and like you said that you wouldn't be doing this. And so it's really cool for me to like speak that too, because I did speak that. And so I went from fired to being featured. I mean, I've been featured on the news, online, on social media, all the things. And so you can go from being fired to featured too. If you recently got laid off from your job, as you're probably listening to this, there's so many people who, right now are getting laid off and having to figure it out. So maybe there is something in this book that could help you during that time to help you start and grow your online business. I'm sure there's so many practical tips in the book that can help you start to build that online presence.
Yeah, and I love a good action-taking, practical book. That's the kind of books I like to read too, and I did get a copy of your book on Saturday, so I'm excited to dive in. But thank you so much. We're going to have everything linked in the show notes, your book and all the things. So thank you so much for chatting with me today. It was so cool to get to know you more, and we'll talk soon. But also too, Michelle will be back later this week on our Business Chaser episode. She's going to actually talk to us about community building, which is one of my favorite topics. So make sure you tune in to that episode as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Over Cocktails, where real stories and bold business moves come to life. If this episode lit something up in you, share it with a friend, tag me at Lauren Najar or the podcast page at Business Over Cocktails. Make sure to leave a quick review as well. It helps more than you know. Until next time, keep chasing what matters and building the business that feels like you. Cheers!